Hello, and welcome to the ShrubSMP Season 4 World Download World Tour. We're over here, right at the spawn, and gonna start off like we do in all these world tours, checking out the spawn area that was built by the builders, heading on over to take a quick tour of my starter area, and then check out all of the different builds that I built on this server, including a return to the Dark Castle. And I've already been around this world checking things out. I cannot believe I remember how amazing that Dark Castle was, and probably my favorite build I've ever made to date. And of course, we'll be doing a cinematic montage at the end of all the different amazing builds. And I can tell you, as we're going to go around to the starter area right after we see spawn, there was a return to some really cool community builds close to and around the surrounding area of spawn. So without further ado, let's quick check this area out and then get on with the episode. So right off the bat, as we walk around and spawn, we'll notice that we see blocks that don't really exist anywhere else but in the ancient cities, and the builders use them here in creative mode before opening the season, and we're just using this to kind of follow this bridge along to see where it leads, this amazing central feature, which is the giant nether portal that leads to the community nether hub. But for now, we're just going to take a quick hop up into the sky since we are in creative mode. But as I hover up around in the air, you can see below another relatively small spawn area. Very highly detailed, of course. A central tree feature like we always have in seasons 1 through 3 so far. No different here in season 4. And then the idea was that paths lead off into a quick nearby town, which we're going to visit first. So we're going to head in that direction where my starter home is, and then check out everything that's around it. Alright, the first thing we come to is this local little village. Now, this was built up by some of the shrubs who got together and made a little general starter area. There's actually some villagers in some of these houses and some things that you need to get the early game going, including some food and some other items for players to be able to stop by right outside of spawn and grab their items. Now, what I did is, this is my area directly down there in front of me on the other side of this quick little river where I built this bridge, and those builds are mine. So we're going to go down there and start the tour. Alright, I'm down here at the front entrance of the house when we were here on version 1.19, and that's where Season 4 was built. And looking at the roof, I know that that means that we had copper for the first time, or at least it was much more widely used, and we went ahead and built our roof out of copper. But let's head on into the front door and see what the house looks like on the inside. A nice little beginner type of house, but there is some details to speak of here. Now, as soon as I walk in, I again started to work on making sure that the inside of a structure was somewhat decorated with the items that it needs to make sense, and then also to have a couple collectibles as well. And this definitely looks like a little more of a regular home. You can see we even have just this little bit of piece of wall to stick out that kind of separates the furniture a little bit. We have an ender chest, we have some basic storage that kind of feeds into the middle of my bed location, and up here, like as a loft, you can still reach it to do the enchanting setup. We have our little tropical fish, and they look kind of like me because of the colors. I think that's why we put them there in the first place. But that's pretty much it. Like in any starter house, you really just need enough to get started. You need some of your basic workstations, furnaces, storage, enchanting, and having an ender chest is certainly a big bonus this early in the season. But if we head out the back door, I believe, yes, so what we really just have is we got some early game crops. We got all the crops out front, and in the back you can see the nether portal off to the side. So we'll be taking the nether portal to not only reach the Dark Castle location, but to show something that I've done for the first time here in Season 4, and that is to make decorated, themed nether tunnels. And they really turned out great, as we will see during this world tour. But of course, no starter area would be complete without my cactus farm. And as we can see, again, I probably did some green dyes, but have a kind of a indication of how long we were in 1.19 here on Season 4. So flying back up into the air, we can turn around and look. That's it. That's the starter area. Also have a path leading out. So I had never done any pathing before, using a stair like this to kind of put some texture. It's not like you're going to break your ankles or anything. You don't actually fall in this little crack, but it leads back to the village. And on the way, I put a second structure here, aside from the rocket shop, which I've become known to do now. I make these little grab and go rocket shop where these shrubs can come by. Oh, I accept tips too. This is not really, it's a free shop, but tips not required. But somebody left me 2 diamonds before the season was over, it seems. But I did create a pork chop shop, so this was a kind of neat to see. Right as soon as you come across the bridge, you can see They got the cooked pork and the raw pork chop. That indicates that it's certainly a pork chop shop. And if we head on the inside, this looks a little familiar because I did this in the most recent season that we just ended, season 6. This is kind of where I got the idea for actually having the pig's name is delicious. That's amazing. So we have a pork chop shop. The shrubs can come in and take stacks of pork chops if they need them. You got the slab of beef or a slab of pork, I guess, hanging up from the meat hook. And we got some smokers there. But that's about it. The quick little tour of my starter area. And we got to keep moving fast because I know I've already been to the Dark Castle location and it is huge. There's lots to see there, and that's where we're going to spend most of our time just coming up next. Before we do, let's quick hop up in the air and get an indication of some of the things we're going to see in the montage. There is some real expansive builds by the shrubs nearby instead of off in distant lands like there were in season 3. But we'll see it all in the ending montage. And for now, let's get back down to the Nether portal and check out those tunnels. Alright, we're back here at spawn and it's time to hop into this portal and see what the Nether hub looks like. Alright, entering, we see another cavern, a big open space that branches off into 4 directions. Oh, they have the cool pillar trick once again. So we saw that last season in the Nether hub. They have it here again. But yeah, just looking around, it's kind of like a donut. So this is circular as opposed to a little more square like the one in season 3 was. So depending on which direction, nobody was really in that direction. There's some other directions that are a little more thematic, like this one up here on the second, and different signs and different books with lecterns to indicate which players are in which direction. Now, if I remember, where is the one with the red? Ah yes, right here in front of me is our first stop in terms of the tunnels. So this tunnel here was completely made by me. Now I think what we're going to see in some of these travels that we do, we're going to see multiple thematic tunnels just like this one. And some of the shrubs were already doing that and I kind of embraced it, had never done it before. Just figure all you really need to do is pick a repeating pattern of like 5 different blocks in segments and then alternate segments and then just make them down the hallway and repeat it over and over and over again until you reach your destination. And our destination is all the way at the end of this hallway, and when I do get down there, there is an intersection that will quickly be able to see the different types of tunnels that I made. Alright, and we're approaching that intersection now, so I've kind of landed on the ground, and here it is. So this is a portal to our mega build site, which is the Dark Castle. We're going to head in there first, but let's check out this intersection. So, 4 directions, 4 different themes of tunnel. So, we have the Nether hub all the way back in that direction, and we have a Nether brick tunnel that kind of leads off to a fortress. And I already know what's in the fortress. It's something we're going to check out as well, something I built, which is a double blaze spawner grinder, and we'll check that out soon. In this direction, there's a Froglight bastion farm. So again, the theme here, these are the blocks that you'll find in a bastion, one of the newer structures in versions of Minecraft at this time, and that's all the way down at the end of this hall. And this one just looks pretty basic because this is where I collected all my blackstone. There's another bastion just down the hallway there that I just started just shaving off the top. I was collecting all of these stones for use in the Dark Castle build directly from a bastion itself. But yeah, lots to see that I built, but of course right now it's time to head out to the Dark Castle. And as we head through the portal, I'm actually going to back away and check out the entrance first. I want to see this Dark Castle from the outside first, because when we see the location, you'll be able to tell that I really built it up big this season compared to season 3. But here from the outside, what we'll be able to quickly tell is that this was built directly into this low point, snaking its way through the 2 sides of this cool natural generation that we saw as we were kind of boating by out here in this tropical ocean. We came by this cool Minecraft generation and saw that there was some room to build on the inside, and I wound up putting myself right in here with the Dark Castle. And as we swing around back, we're going to see what we're going to see last before we leave this area. Our first roller coaster. So now, I did build a roller coaster similar to this in season 6, but this was the first one that I ever did build because I just wanted to make sure that we could have the use of minecarts, because minecarts were a little underutilized in Minecraft, believe it or not, after all those years. And I had all this open space in the back, didn't know what to put, and we wound up putting the roller coaster. So we'll check in on, I believe his name was Todd. Todd's probably zipping around here somewhere. We'll check in with him if we run into him. But let's head on down into the front entrance one more time and check out what's on the inside of the Dark Castle. I guess last thing before we do, as we kind of swoop over here and talk about this central feature, this is actually an iron farm, and it's kind of a 2-wing iron farm. There's iron golems that would spawn in that water and they would come through the middle. Their iron would get collected as they burn up and then head down straight through this recreation that I made with different color blocks of a pillager outpost. It's an exact replica of a pillager outpost that you would find in vanilla Minecraft, but it uses the new mangrove wood. And its dark red color kind of goes with the Dark Castle theme, so that's why I chose to use those blocks. But we'll see it from the inside as we head back down to the front and pop in through the portal. It's time to head out and check out what we have on the inside. We got Mr. Dunderbock just sitting here waiting for us. He was the horse with the armor. The diamond armor that we had just sitting out front. Not sure where he was going because there's nothing but ocean out there. But anyway, we got Mr. Dunder back in the front. And we have all of these skeletons standing guard. They all have the different types of armor, everywhere from leather to chainmail to diamond. And the skeleton heads were prevalent in some of the add-on packs that we had. So I used them as player heads here on in the armor stand. We'll see that we have Nico the dog, and there's another dog standing guard over there, but Nico is right in front of the map of the whole area that we can see the Dark Castle from above, the Dark Castle 4.0. So now it's time to check out some of the specific features that I built in here over the course of the season. First stop is on the inside, kind of the living quarters, and this is the bottom of that pillager outpost. We'll see we have the enchanting setup, we have the chest where the iron would get filtered in down there, we have some other decorations, and just a little central spot to kind of operate out of, have my bed in place, and do some enchanting. So heading out front, let's check out our other animals. We got Stray the dog, who's kind of keeping guard with Nico over there. Larry the bird. This is a trick that has been in Minecraft for a while. I just never done it, where you kind of hang a little bird cage up from a iron chain. And the storage system. So again, a regular automatic storage system that automatically sorts all these blocks at the bottom, indicate what's inside the chest. And if you put all of your items into this chest, the redstone distributes it all the way throughout the entire storage system, which is pretty large. So as we come down here to the storage wing, you can see there's plenty of chests and there's all kind of different items here. And we have another cat down here waiting. Let's see what the cat's name is. Skirty. The Skirty cat's up here on the second floor, checking out the storage area. But this was the main automatic storage area again, and now that's the whole second floor, and all we need to do is head down into the first floor to see what else awaits down here. And this is where all the automatic farms are. Now, I did build these, what you see here, this is kind of my collection of items. We got the sacred birch, and we have all these different records that I was collecting. We have a nether star, golden apples, of course, golden enchanted apples. I have my final equipment, of course, as you do with any season-ending activity. You always leave all of your ending equipment in a chest for other players to come and see what you had and explore your part of the world. We also used floating candles kind of over here to signify the importance, or that there might be something magical happening with all these enchantments. Now, one of the other things that I did is incorporate the farms directly into the building. A little different than what I've done in the past. It's similar farms. We're going to hop up here and see. We got the sheep in the back there, and they're just automatically being sheared and feed this chest up front through a series of hopper chains. We have the different farmers who are automatically growing the potatoes and carrots and wheat on the other side, and they're all being distributed out here into this central chest. And then, of course, we have our standard bee farm with the same redstone that I learned a couple seasons ago, just a different decorative outside theme, and again, dispensing out into a chest. So we have all kind of automatic farms just incorporated into the infrastructure here. And one more that you can't see, it's behind this wall, is a redstone melon and pumpkin farm, and it kind of feeds all the way down into this chest at the end, so that I can collect it and use for trades with the farmer villagers that I have down here. And we got one last pet back here, a cat. And it's named Security with the rolling R's. That's awesome. So I had lots of villagers this time. Wow, so many villagers into the Dark Castle. But I think one last thing to check out, speaking of automatic farms, is to head back up by the entrance, because there's 2 or 3 more things to check out inside. So back around front and just around the corner, oh, we have another cat over here. It's named Shy. I guess that's why it's named Shy, because they're just hiding back here over in the corner. We head into this last room. We see I have another themed build here. This is an automatic kelp growing and kelp collection farm. We see ahead of me is one of the dioramas that I like to build to remember events. This, of course, was the dragon fight. And in this season, what we used enchanted wet mud. So the mud, I'll just take a quick copy of it here. We look at it. Free the End in ShrubSMP Season 4. This is a custom block where it was enchanted with a special little message by the admins that we used to then punch the dragon till its demise, like we do in every season, with a non-weapon block. But that'll almost do for the inside of the Dark Castle. The last thing is a giant machine that I can't wait to show off because it took me forever to build, forever to learn how to do it, and it's an amazing machine that I really want to share because it was built by a really amazing YouTuber, and I will share that information in the video description. As we head just beyond these sugar canes, that's exactly what's on the other side, is a truly amazing sugarcane farm. So as we head on in, we'll see that I cleared out the inside of this mountain and built this giant sugarcane farm. This was designed by a YouTuber called ilmango, and like I said, the video for this machine will be in the video description. And they are part of an amazing technical Minecraft community. And when I saw this thing, I thought it'd be a cool challenge to build some redstone. I really am not very good at redstone, so it took me a while to learn how to build it, to follow all of the detailed instructions, and figure this thing out. From everything from way up here at the top is this timing mechanism that changes the states and the positions of these blocks, so that every so often it will fire this redstone mechanism, which will then dispense a whole bunch of minecarts, and then the minecarts will then come down here and then get observed, and this redstone would go off, and this flying machine would go flying off and collect all of the sugarcane. I'm not sure if it's still functional. We're going to go ahead and give it a shot, but I wanted to at least say that this was really a challenge to build. I had never done some type of technical Minecraft like this before, trying to get these different blocks in the right state and all the different redstone components built up and put in position. And flying machines. Flying machines are difficult because if you don't get them just right with the different types of blocks that stick to honey or that stick to slime blocks, and it can break really fast. This may actually break when we fire it, but we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. Now, if I remember right, I can go up here to the top and I can manually push this button instead of relying on the clock that I've since disabled. So let's push the button and see what happens. Okay, so we see that the minecarts with hoppers are heading out. They're getting pushed into position as these all change. And if I remember right, when it gets to the end, we're going to go down here and see what happens with the flying machines. Will they get loaded correctly? They go down, they get put on the flying machines start heading off, and here they go. So what's actually happening here is as they go ahead and break, the iron trapdoors are breaking the sugarcane, and instantly as the sugarcane's breaking, instead of flying all over the place, they get sucked into these hopper minecarts. Now the hopper minecarts will then get distributed off the end. Yep, and then there they go, one by one. This is a really cool effect. It's kind of a train of minecarts. They go back up to the top with the sugarcane inside them all. And then when they hit this amethyst at the end, they get broken. The minecarts get collected back into this guy here, and they will then be able to then get dispensed again, and the cycle will repeat every so often. The way it normally works is this timer system would be going every so often. That's synced up with the amount of time it takes to grow the sugarcane, which is the real technical part that was beyond me. So thankfully I had something to follow in that YouTube video. But like I said, never did anything like this before, so I definitely wanted to do redstone in Season 4, and this was the big project. It took quite some time just to clear out the area, but then even to put it in and decorate the ceiling. I think I was going to put clouds up there, never really got around to that. But why do I have so much sugarcane, you ask? Well, remember, we supply rockets to all the shrubs on the server, and that means that we must have a gunpowder farm, and it's probably right outside. So as we head out this hole in the wall, we see that we're floating above the roller coaster where Todd is still running around. We got to catch up with Todd somewhere. Where is he? If we see any movement, we're going to have to make sure that we check him out. I believe he was a blacksmith or an armor smith. Oh, there he goes. There he is. Hey, all right. Let's since we're talking about it, let's see if we can intercept Todd here somewhere. Hey, okay. He's got a patch over his eye. There's Todd. Todd didn't have any good trades. I traded with him once to lock him in, I guess. Hey, alright, well, we're gonna have to send you on your way and get back on with the world tour. I just push you, and I think you'll have enough momentum when we hit the reds. Oh no, he's gonna come backwards. Oh no, this is like what I did with the llamas in Season 6. We have to get them going, make sure you do. Okay, good. Over here in the middle, you have a standard creeper farm. There are cats on the inside and only creepers that spawn. And then what happens is the cats scare the creepers to the perimeter. They fall down to the middle and they get burned up in some campfire. Oh no, this one was magma blocks, not campfires. And then the drops get sucked through and into the chest. Wow, look at that, it's full. So it's been running, it's almost completely full. I must have had plenty of rockets and I didn't have to come back here. One of the other things, we did more redstone again. We learned how to build an automatic moss farm, and that certainly ran and collected all the moss for us, where we could use moss to make buildings and also to use to generate bone meal. Let's see if this thing still works. Let's flick the lever. Nothing happens. All right. Oh, wait, there it goes. Okay, so it definitely does. It's on like a kind of a gentle timer, so it occurs every so often. Kind of neat. I think there's a different design than this these days, but that's the way this one works. We'll turn it back off. And then actually these items on front can get collected if I get the hopper minecart going back and forth. Perfect. And then they will distribute its drops over these three. All right, cool system. There's a different way to do this these days, but this is the way it was done in 1.19, and I was able to collect lots of bone meal materials. So that's about all there is to see here at the Dark Castle. So that means it's time to head back into the Nether and check out where some of those other paths lead. The first place we're going to go is down to the fortress and double blaze spawners, because this was kind of a wild thing to build. But as I reach the end of that tunnel and down to where it is, you'll see as we get to the bottom that there's really not much down here but a killing chamber. So you have one there and one in the other corner. So this is where the blazes would come down from their chambers. But the really cool thing to see is the chambers themselves. So we're going to quick flip into spectator mode to check out what these things look like from the outside. And if I just go straight up into the chamber, look at these things. So you got one side by side. If you're just where those chambers are at the bottom, you can get them to both run at the same time. And if we head on the inside, we'll see that what happens is the blazes find their way down. They get pushed by some of the lava. They kind of follow the pathing, and they're down there where you can hit them with a looting 3 sharpness sword. And I made the effort after I got these things built up. I tore them half down again and put all this colored glass to kind of help with the theme, but you can't really see it from the outside because I had to protect it from all those ghasts out there. And if we go through the wall and take a look, we made it as themed as we could. You can see through there's a ghast, there's the perpetrator right there that was constantly blowing this area up as players were running through. But we decorated it up as cool as we could, and like we said, very functional because it's a double grinder. Every time you have a spawner within range of another spawner, you want to have it so that you can maximize your drops and be in range of both of them whenever possible. So we're back here at the intersection, and we're going to head on to the Froglight farm through this theme tunnel. And like I said, this season had a lot of firsts, because to be fair, I had never done redstone like that before. I certainly have never built a double blaze spawner before, and Froglights were relatively new to the game, and I had never built a Froglight farm, which is exactly what we have in this bastion when we reach the end of the tunnel. Alright, we're in the bastion now, and we can see I got the Froglights on the outside. There's not really I mean, we put some guard railings up. There's not really decorated, just enough to make it functional. It's completely cleared of brutes and all the baddies in here. There's still some regular mobs hanging around, but they're not too dangerous as long as we don't punch them. But we can see here, the way that this farm works if I head downstairs is it requires frogs, powdered snow, and there is, in some of these bastions, including this one, magma spawners. And these magma cubes hop up and down, and they don't like the powdered snow all that much. And what happens is over a short period of time, they will disintegrate into smaller, just like this, into smaller cubes. And then once they're small enough, are these the ones or one more size small? Oh, yep, no, they're already being eaten. The frogs eat them up, and what they happen to do is then Froglights are produced. And underneath there, if I remember right, yep, there it goes. A minecart goes back and forth underneath and picks them up. And then when it gets to the top, there's some more redstone here that is an auto unloader, so it'll stay here until it completely unloads to the bottom, and once this is empty, once it's empty, it heads off into the collect more. So yeah, another first for me, and this certainly supplied all kind of Froglights to the server. I think I didn't really create a shop, but I definitely shared them with a lot of people. Alright, I'm back over here at the village just outside of spawn, and again, we can see in the surrounding area, there is plenty and plenty to see and do just here around my starter area below me. A little bit of a whirlwind tour. We saw lots of things that I did here in Season 4, but now it's time to check out what so many others did, including some of these amazing builds just in this area and in lands distant which means it's time for the cinematic montage. So let's get that thing rolling and enjoy the build of Season 4.